Scott Probst, and the title of my work is We Are the Climate, June 2020. It's a work in progress, so there will be other iterations of it. It's really observation over time, over about 7 months' time, just of the view from where I live out to sea, out towards Redhead from Charlestown, just showing the state of the atmosphere, essentially, through the time of the bushfire crisis and then the COVID lockdown period, which we're still in some sense. I set up one of my cameras just in my spare room, tried to leave it in the same place, and just took a photograph most days of the week in that period of time. And then I've simply put them together in a video with a few timings to show when, say, the bushfire crisis was on, when the coronavirus was first reported, when the lockdown started in Australia, and some other details which give a sense of what was happening in the world as you watch the atmosphere. My photographic work in general, in terms of format, tends to be quite large format. Video works, I generally like to have it shown on a large screen or a projection. This one is a great deal more simple than other things I've done. I usually work a lot when I do videos with ambient sound, environmental noise, or what's available at the time, or casually recorded performances to use the audio on my phone. This one is very simple. As I said, they're just a series of digital images. I only process them to correct for chromatic aberrations and lens distortion. I'm not a great believer in processing of images beyond the printing or scanning process. And all I've done is provide the images with a crossfade, actually dissolve fade between each image, shown them for 5 seconds each, a little longer for things that have text for people to read. I wanted to make it very easy to understand what's going on, very little processing. It's a time narrative. Besides the changing of the days and the dates which are noted, one of the central pieces of the image is a building under construction, and you can look at the construction of the building and see the passage of time with that. So I've used that as a sort of marker of the human activity as well. Well, I was really interested to show from a really sort of mundane or everyday point of view the effect on the environment of human action or human activity over a long period of time, not just one photograph. And then what emerged from this was, as lockdown progressed, it became obvious that the actual view out to sea was much clearer than it was. And I thought that was, first of all, very interesting, but potentially a really positive sign of what we could do if we changed. I go out and about. I do a lot of landscape photography. So no, the answer is my cameras are currently set up in the spare room of my flat. I like to do something most days, every day, even if it's just a little bit of background research or shooting, or I develop film. I work on film as well as digital. Total time, I try to approach it as much as I can as a full-time occupation, but I do work part-time as well, and I'm also doing masters at Newcastle University. I taught myself, if that's the right word for it. I experimented in strange and probably unnecessary ways for a long time, for 30 years or so, but I recently completed a Bachelor of Fine Arts at Newcastle Uni, and that's what I'm doing the MPhil in now. So both. I've benefited a lot from study, I must say. That's interesting. In Australia, it's a bit culturally fraught to call yourself an artist. But the best thing about it is it gives you, once you do that, it gives you a bit of a license to roam and explore and find your own way of looking at things. part of that was I've done a couple of long-term residencies in Iceland, one in winter, one in summer, which was a really fantastic experience. Did a lot of things for me personally and artistically. So it's a license to go and find what you want to find. I guess it's about finding the meaning in the world around you and exploring the way that you see things or the way that I think about things. And that's what practicing my art does for me. Actually, that image of the beach with the flag on it, that's one of mine.
Oh, there you go.
But it was one of the first few test rolls that I got on my Hasselblad. I've been back to Redhead, the Shark Tower in the background, and actually the rock that's in between the two posts. I've shot both of those a number of times in various ways. I did a tiny bit of online research about it. It's the only one left standing that was built in that era. Interesting piece of history.
Yeah.